Guys, in the year wearing clothes that'll give you the confidence to tackle those 2023 resolutions. Our sponsor, True Classic, has designed t-shirts to make fellas of all sizes out there feel confident in their clothing. They have already helped over 2 million men look great in their tees, and now for a limited time only, you can get 25% off with the promo code Chael at trueclassic.com. These incredible tees taper off towards the bottom, but fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. This flattering look can also be achieved by every body type. True Classic offers a 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day return policy. With over 200,000 five-star reviews, it's no wonder these t-shirts are such a hit. Again, guys, get 25% off at trueclassic.com when you use the promo code Chael. Plus, free shipping is included with purchases over $100. New year, new me, and new tees thanks to True Classic. Sugar Sean was talking about pride rules. It was just a topic. He was just talking about what would pride rules be like, or what would the UFC be like right now if they followed the rules of pride. Now, let me stop you there as far as the tie-in to Sugar Sean. He didn't overly love the rules. He was just making a comparison. And I got to tell you, though, I hear that all the time. I mean, I hear people and I hear fighters and I hear fans of fighting always bringing up pride. Do you guys even know what pride is? I mean, you hardcores that go back a while, sure you do. And great memories from the pride days. But why is that? It's an interesting phenomenon because whenever I do hear pride spoke about, it's always in a very positive way. To the point that if you were to put pride head-to-head with any other organization, I hear pride winning. Like in folklore or popular culture, if you will, or with the kids on the underground. Where does that come from? And do we need to set that record straight? I mean, for those of you that remember pride and you love it, you remember and you love an organization that failed. Just to start with. And for the rest of you that don't even know what pride is, don't waste your time going and finding out. Now, I'll share with you, I like pride very much, and I have a lot of great memories from that. But pride was doing something different. And I'm only speaking to the phenomenon of people using the comparison. Here would be a fine example. Pride had 3 rounds. There was a 10-minute round, and then there was a 5-minute round, and another 5-minute round. And so even though it was 20 minutes, it was to be judged as one long round. So you could win 3 minutes. You could dominate and do a bunch of damage in 3 minutes, and you could lose the next 17, and you would win the fight. That's not the way it is in the States. That's not what the unified rules call for. That's not what a 10-9 must system calls for. So it was something that was unique, and it was something that was different about pride. Just for an example. And pride had a really awesome level of production. They had this woman serving in the role of like Bruce Buffer, Michael C. Williams, if you will, the ring announcer. They had this woman doing it, and her voice was incredible. She apparently was like a former opera singer. And she would introduce these guys, and she would say their name, and it was just this really unique thing. And they weren't against doing a freak show. If you were 7'2" and 400 pounds, and you wanted to put on 4-ounce gloves, short pants, and grab a mouthpiece, you probably could get a match in pride. Against a 5'3", 190-pound opponent, they were into these kinds of things. So there was a spectacle and there was something to see, but on that same card where you got this spectacle, what I've heard many people label as a freak show, you would then have 2 of the best guys in the world that were similar weight class. Like you would have a freak show take place, and an hour later, you would have Sakuraba standing across from Vanderlei Silva. So it was always this confusion. It was kind of like a little something for everybody. I have been very critical of Pride because Pride had a number of fixed matches, and I know that upsets some of the athletes. I don't say that to upset the athletes. It was a fascinating thing. If you're going to go do what we call a work in professional wrestling, both of the wrestlers get in the locker room in the back. What's called a booker comes in, and they tell the guys just a few things about the match. Hey, you guys got 7 minutes of airtime. They'll look to the winner and say, you're going to win by pinfall. or you're going to win by countout, or this is going to a double disqualification. They'll give him a couple of things that the match needs to have, and then the booker leaves the room and he goes to somebody else's locker room and he does the same thing. Those two wrestlers then figure out what the spots are going to be. Okay, great. I'm just sharing with you, like, that's how you would do a work match for professional wrestling, which is very open to the audience, as this is entertainment, this is not competition. What Pride would do was something very interesting where they would only visit one locker room. And it was the losing locker room. And they would explain to that guy when and how he was going to go down. And the reason I found that so interesting is when you're capturing that on camera, and we've seen works in MMA, they were done really, really poorly. And the reason Pride was able to get away with it is the celebration by the victor looked so sincere. And it looked sincere because it was sincere. And it was sincere because he didn't know that the other guy was told when to go down. Now, that's a fascinating concept for those of you that follow that. I do get pushback on that sometimes by what's called a mark that will tell me that didn't happen. Fair enough. It's really not the hill that I want to die on. I'm just explaining to you why you saw a number of things happen in Pride. And then we also had a belief with Pride that it had the superior athletes. You could argue production, you could argue audience, you could have this real toss-up. But the Pride athletes were the number one MMA athletes in the world. That was not true. And we know that that wasn't true only because when those contracts were absorbed and they came to the UFC, we saw a number of those guys going down. Now, they were very good and they had their level of success too. I don't attempt to recreate history. But I will tell you, I do get a little annoyed when other people attempt to recreate history on me and tell me how great Pride was. Pride is an organization that is no more. Pride is an organization that came to North America one time and did not sell out the venue that they played. Pride tried to do a boxing ring, which has never worked in North America, not for MMA. The only promotions that have ever gotten over in the States are with a cage. Now, I can keep doing this. I can keep playing this game. But I'll always have somebody that meets me back and wants to tell me how great it was and how it was the best and how they missed the Pride days. And they'll even talk about the scoring system, which I laid out for you a moment ago. Now, you may like that more. You might. It's a scoring system that didn't hold up. It's a scoring system that didn't get adopted. I feel as though that means it's a scoring system that tested itself against the leadership and got voted down. But that isn't generally how I hear the story of Pride. I hear it with such incredibly fond memories. And I have them too, to an extent. But I didn't get lost in the nostalgia. I bought in at the time. I mean, right, it was just debated in the media who's got the better fighters. And the American media were telling us that it was Pride. So we brought those guys over, put them in the UFC. One of them became champion. I don't know if Big Nog was ever the champion in Pride. I don't know that. He had those awesome fights with Fedor. I believe that he was a Pride champion. It could have been a tournament, a Grand Prix. They did a number of things. Big Nog came over here and he won the UFC championship. I can't think of anyone else. Let's see. Okay, Rampage came over. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Rampage came over. He grabbed the belt for a moment. Henderson came over. He got to the finals 3 times, twice at middleweight, once at 205, and they had some damn good fighters. It was an interesting production. I love the woman with the opera voice. I really did. I thought the production was legitimate. I liked how the confetti fell out of the sky. I just don't know why every single time we put Pride head-to-head with another organization, we automatically concede that they were better. They're an organization that went under.